Hey everyone, Humphrey here with Router Guides. We're here in Bangkok at the True Digital Park. It's in between Bang Nhat and Punawiti. This is an awesome place to hang out, to learn. It's a co-learning, co-working, mall, office, Starbucks, True Cafe, all rolled into one. So if you're in Bangkok, this is a perfect place to hang out and make YouTube videos like I'm doing right now. So today we're going to talk about continuing on our series about Singapore, work-life balance, work culture. And in the last video I did about 7 months ago, we talked about a lot of topics, but now we're going to break them up one by one and give you more examples and go more in depth. And the reason for that is now, since 7 months have passed since I've left my job, and I'm pretty much situated, well, I am situated here in Bangkok, we can take a more nuanced and balanced approach to viewing the Singapore work-life culture. It doesn't have to be as a I don't want to say PTSD, but it can be more balanced. Today we're going to talk about the work-life balance, specifically your relationship with your phone and your emails. Now, in Singapore, I have never used my phone as much as I did in Singapore. And specifically, it was the chat program WhatsApp. Singapore, most people use WhatsApp. In Thailand, most people use Line. So it's interesting because each Asian country has a different chat program of choice. Now, in the US, while working for Cisco, we've got Cisco WebEx Teams. Before WebEx Teams, we had Jabber, and we also have text messaging. That's what's interesting. The difference is in the US, we actually do use SMS and text messaging quite a bit. Apple, iMessage, that type of stuff. In Singapore, what's interesting is it just goes straight to WhatsApp. The times that you get messaged, and this gets into work-life balance or maybe the lack of it. So in the US, you generally don't get messaged or called after 6 p.m., right? Very rarely, right? If you do get messaged after 6 p.m., it's probably a emergency, right? Network's down, something really bad is happening. In Singapore, after 6, yeah, WhatsApp happens quite a bit. After 7, after 8, after 9, 10 o'clock, 11 p.m., I've had midnight, WhatsApp at midnight. That is normal. Now, as an SE, especially in the beginning, you've got to train yourself not to jump up and answer a lot of these messages right away. That's a tip for you guys early in career is, okay, if you're an enterprise and you've got one customer, largest customer, they spend billions and billions of dollars, it's like a Bank of America, or, just really big company. Then okay, answer within a reasonable amount of time. But you don't need to answer all your messages and all your emails within 30 seconds. That's an unrealistic and stupid SLA to have on responses. And if the question is really stupid, like what I've had, how many ports are in the switch, or how many ports are on this particular firewall, right? How many ports are on this switch? And the number of ports is in the name of the switch. I'm not answering that. I'm sorry, right? That can wait until the morning. So stupid. So yeah, there's certain messages where you don't need to respond to. Probably most messages you don't need to respond to, and it can wait until the morning. Now, for many of my Singaporean coworkers, this type of thinking, or this type of reaction, or this type of SLA, or mind is blown. What? You don't respond right away? What? Also another thing is, so even with coworkers, sometimes I didn't respond, and I'm sure there's coworkers that are watching this video right now going, "Oh, that's what Humphrey was doing." Yeah, that's exactly what I was doing. When you don't respond in that level of time, or you respond in the morning, some Singaporeans get really upset at that. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Whereas in the US, whatever, right? No big deal. So yeah, the messaging in WhatsApp, get used to that in Singapore because yeah, you're going to be living in WhatsApp. Both messaging, calls, the different rooms and groups. You'll be added to a room with like, man, I was in a WhatsApp room with like 50 people in it, and it's all from a certain company. And you got to be careful. Pro tip: when you're added to a WhatsApp room, and you just see phone numbers. So if you haven't added all the phone numbers to your contact list, you'll just see a list of phone numbers. And so for my Malaysian coworkers and customers, you'll get added, and then you just see like the Malaysian country code in there, just all these phone numbers. And you don't know who they are. And so before things are getting heated and people are yelling at each other online, you may want to take those phone numbers and pop them into your Outlook search just to see who they are, and then start adding the names in. Because yeah, you won't know. And that's another thing is notification, or kind of in the US we'd call it giving people a heads up. So if things are getting escalated, and now we'll talk a little bit about email as well. Email and WhatsApp will combine. So escalations. Um, You've got an email chain, it's going back and forth. The other person doesn't like what you're telling them for whatever reason. And so now they're going to start emailing your boss, carbon copy your boss, adding their boss to the chain, adding a manager, adding a director. So in the US, what we would do is, just as a courtesy, just to let heads up, hey, just to let you know, first line in the email, adding so and so to CC, adding Bob and Bill and Mary to this. In Singapore, I would say half of the time they would, is that fair? Half? No, I'd say about 30%, 1/3 of the time. I'd say 1/3 of the time you would get people added without the heads up. So you got to really look at that two in the CC field like a hawk to make sure no extra person has been added. That way you could, your responses can change, right? You gotta change your responses depending on who's been added. And always assume the worst in terms of BCC. Nowhere will you get into carbon copy and BCC just absolute worthless email chains back and forth with 20 people, 30 people, 50 people, just time suck when it could have all been solved by a phone call. And that's another thing you'll run into. In the US, we called each other a lot, like every day I'd be calling. Whether it's my coworkers, I'd talk to my customers. Every day I was on the phone talking to people. Singapore, very, very rarely will you actually call or be called by Singaporeans, even Malaysians, both. Now, my Western coworkers, yeah, they call me. Aussies, Americans, Brits, yeah, they call. They're used to calling. Singaporeans, nope, nope. I don't know why. Not in the culture. They just go straight to WhatsApp. Right? So, and emails as well. So, we talked in the previous video about pointing the finger and blaming. That's kind of why is with the email chain and with WhatsApp, you can prove. You could narc people out. You could, add people to the CC. Look, boss, I'm doing my job. Or you could take a screenshot of the WhatsApp and send things out. So be careful with that on the email chains and the WhatsApp chains. You'll be added. People will be added to the rooms and the different rooms, and it can be a trap. In Singapore, you will experience escalations beyond belief. Everything gets escalated. Even most dumbest, simplest things get escalated. And the reason why is the customer and vendor relationship is very one-sided. It's not like the US, where Cisco and the customer, it's an equal thing. We're partners. We're here with you. Right? You help me, I help you. I'm at your company quite a bit. I'm here every day. If it's a big customer, I'm helping you out. In Asia, especially in Singapore, you are my slave, right? So the customer's like, I'm buying stuff from you. You do, yeah. It's very adversarial. It's very one-sided. It's yeah, and everything gets escalated because the account team is scared. The account team is so scared, and they have to show that they're doing something. So everyone's jumping up and down. Another video about work-life balance in Singapore, work culture in Singapore. If you have any questions, just put them in the comments below. I might make a video about it. And yeah, stay safe, and I'll talk to you later. Router Gods out.